Your heart is heavy, you miss your ex like crazy, and you wish more than anything you can get your ex to miss you too. Hi, this is Ashley from ashleykay.com, where I reveal the raw, naked truth on relationship success. In this week's video, I'm going to reveal 4 weird yet powerful tips on how to get your ex to miss you. So tip number 1 is time. Okay, this may not be a surprise to some people, but absence does make the heart grow fonder. But you do need to allow time to do its thing. Case in point, I was going through a breakup. This was a few years ago. I was going through a breakup and I was really happy the first month, right? I was so relieved. I was out of that relationship. I felt like this big burden, big weight has been lifted from my shoulders. I felt free and I thought I'd never want to see him again, never want to talk to him again, never think about him again. I was busy doing other things, busy being happy with my life. All was good. Come month 2, I was miserable. So I would walk around the house and there'd be memories of him all over the place. So I'd be making breakfast and up pops in a memory of one of the weekends when he would make breakfast for me, and I would miss him. I would miss that. I would miss his company. I would miss talking to him. Or, it'd be late at night and I'm winding down and I'd put a movie on and I would have a memory of him and miss the fact that I would snuggle up with him to watch a movie and he would take me to bed afterwards. These little things that you don't really think about directly, after a breakup, all these little memories started popping up left and right. And I was, really, really emotional, and I'd call him emotional. So definitely you need to allow time to do its thing, because it will, as long as you're not constantly like on their phones, in their face, because if you're constantly in their face and on their phones, all they can remember then is the last time you talked to them and how annoyed they were that you were talking to them. So you really need to have that distance to allow those unique, happy little nuggets of memories to pop up by themselves and do its thing for you, okay? Tip number 2 is being the best at something for your ex. Now, everybody has their own unique traits and abilities. You are the best at something, okay? May not be everything, but you definitely rest assured everybody has something that they're the best at. And as your ex goes through life, they meet different people, they date different people, this will come up. Things like, you may be the best cook that they've ever met. You may be the best lover, the best in bed, best lover, best in bed, best sex partner, whatever that they've ever encountered. You may be the smartest person they've ever met. You can educate them and teach them things in a way that no one else they've ever met has been able to do. Maybe you're the funniest person that they've ever met and you can crack them up in a way they have never met anyone else to do either. When I think back to my exes, I definitely, they will come up when, for example, there was a guy I dated a long time ago. He was like the funniest guy I've ever met. So anytime I'm like thinking about things, like funny things come up and me and my partner don't share, we don't share the same sense of humor, I will remember at one point in my life, in one of my relationships, my ex had been the funniest guy. He always cracked me up. So that memory of him will pop up. So being the best at something, rest assured, your ex will remember you and that memory of you will come up when that thing comes up in their life. It's just about being confident and knowing that you do have a best in you. Everybody does. It's your unique blueprint, your unique talent, ability, whatever it is. And rest assured, they will definitely miss you. Tip number 3 is the next 2 tips. Tip number 3 and 4 are more practical things that you can actually do. The first 2 tips are more like rest assured they will miss you. You may not know about it or hear about it, but they definitely will at some point in the future, somewhere down the road. So tip number 3 though And tip number 3 is everybody knows about social media and the power of social media. And one of the really obvious advice out there is to broadcast all over social media how great you're doing, how happy you are, how amazing your life is, so your ex can see that and start to miss you or regret their decision. That is what everybody does. That is the obvious thing. You don't want to do the obvious thing. Okay, that's going to be less effective if you do that, because it comes across as if you're too boastful, too obvious, too look at me. So your ex will probably be, first of all, know that you're just doing it to get attention and probably just be annoyed about it. And second, they will see through what you're trying to do and it will lose that effect on them. So what you want to do instead is, instead of you being the person to be the one putting up the pictures and taking selfies and putting those pictures up, you want to get your friends to take pictures of you having a good time, you with other people, you with friends, the third person taking pictures, and have your friends post pictures on their walls and tag you in them. So once they tag you, this works on Facebook, once they tag you, then it will come up on your timeline, and then your ex, who will probably follow you, will see it at that point. But they will also see that you weren't the ones that put it up, your friends were the ones who put it up. That may seem like a really small difference, but it makes the world of difference. And that's because of a trait I've mentioned in other videos called being humble. You know, it seems like in society nowadays, it's a very much underrated trait, being humble. You know, we tend to celebrate more being loud and boastful and being confident, you know, like being bigger than everybody else, being louder than everybody else. But that can also seem obnoxious, right? And, you know, too obvious. So being humble is like the silent killer. You know, it's quiet, it's unsuspecting, but it can be very, very powerful, and it's going to seep into your ex's subconscious that, oh, you know, they're not the ones, you know, you're not the one putting the stuff up, your friends are putting the stuff up, or it must be genuine because your friends are doing it, not you. This may not work as well on Instagram because you can't tag people. Well, you can, but not in the photos. And it depends too if your ex is following your friends. So, but you can do it too on a lesser degree by making sure you just don't put any selfies up on Instagram. You know, Instagram seems like it's the world of selfies. So you just want to make sure you have someone else take pictures of you looking wonderful and post those pictures up so it looks like someone else is still taking the pictures. That works too. Now, tip number 4, my last tip, is another sneaky tip, and that is birthdays. What do you do on birthdays when your ex is having a birthday? Well, people do get quite emotional about their birthdays. You know, it's a special day. They want to feel special. They expect a certain amount of attention. Even when we don't want to think anything of it, we don't want anything special, deep down on that day, we do. We want to be the center of attention on our birthdays. That's just human nature. Everybody is like that. Even if they say they don't, they secretly do. Okay, knowing that if you send a postcard, if you send a card, guess what's going to happen with that card? It's just going to be dumped in with all the other cards that your ex will get on that day. So it's not really going to be that special, nor will it be that surprising that you sent a birthday card, because most likely your ex knows that you still miss them and want them back. So once again, you don't want to do the obvious thing, okay? You want to be much smarter than that, much more magnetic than that. So what you do instead is you want to send it a day later. So here's why I'm telling you this story, and this happened to me as well. So it's from personal experience, and I kind of stumbled upon this. So during one of my birthdays, this is and I thought, like, I was over my ex. I hadn't thought of him a long time. You know, I thought it was good. So when my day came, you know, I was getting happy birthday greetings and gifts, and I was happy, you know, normal, everything seemed normal. But on the back of my mind, I noticed the fact that he didn't send me anything. Of course, I was never going to admit this to anybody, certainly not to myself, but I noticed it. And it's funny how, like, on your birthday is probably the only day when you are noticing when someone don't send you a greeting and don't send you a card, you know, like for some weird reason you really pay attention to, you know, that kind of thing. So I noticed that. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, so I kind of pushed it down, pushed it away in my head. The next day, I got surprised by a card and a bouquet of flowers. And here's the weird thing. I did not expect this reaction from myself, but I started bawling when I got this. Why? Probably because I thought he forgot, he didn't care anymore. And then when I got the surprise, it was even more of a surprise. I don't know, like the feeling, just like suddenly like a rush of feelings came over me and I couldn't help myself. I started crying. And I thought just, you know, the day before my birthday, I thought I was over this person. Like, I haven't seen him in a long time. I hadn't thought about him in a long time. So that is the effect you can have on someone when they don't expect it. And especially if you do it around their birthday, but after, okay? Don't do it on, because that's expected of you. But if you do it just a day later, 2 days later, maybe, don't want to go too long, obviously. It can have a very powerful effect. Now, just a bit of tip on when you do this, make sure you give a reason why it's a day late. Okay, you don't want to make it look like, oh, you forgot and then you're suddenly trying to make it up for it. No, you don't want to give that impression. You want to give a reason why you're sending it a day late. The reason could be, you know, you're not sure if you should have sent something, you know, or you didn't want to disturb the ex on their birthday. So give some kind of reason, simple reason. And trust me, it will have a really, really powerful and unexpected reaction from them. And of course, if they're a woman, give them a bouquet of flowers. it's for women, that kind of thing really gets to us, like really affects us in a positive way. So yeah, that's my tip for this week. Hope that's been helpful. If you like this video, please like me, share with your friends, subscribe to my channel. And don't forget, I'll be back next week with another advice video. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.